Hey everyone, this is Pig for Life, and in today's P4L review, we'll be taking a look at a early pre-production sample of DX9's D07 Tyrant, their version of a masterpiece Galvatron, and the very first that we'll have from official Takara, Hasbro, or third party in the masterpiece scale. So I'm very excited to be able to do this. Thank you to DX9 and Toy Dojo as always for allowing me to do this early review. Again, this is a pre-production sample, so that does mean that things are likely to change between this version that I'm reviewing today and the final retail version. So there are likely to be some, tweaks or modifications or maybe even color changes before this comes out. So don't take this review as a final retail review, okay? I know I always say that a lot, but I just want to stress that point. So yeah. Let's go ahead and get started with the review. I'm going to start off with robot mode review just because this guy does look pretty fantastic in robot mode. And this guy does feel like he's pretty close to final, honestly. He's very nice. All the tolerances are pretty tight overall. And you can see he looks good for most angles. Very loyal to the G1 look. And it does play a little towards the toy in some respect, but definitely has more of a G1 cartoon feel to it overall, with the colors and just the overall kind of appearance. With the crown or the crest for the head being more like the cartoon, as well as this part back here. A few things I didn't get both of the cannon. So if you didn't know, the final version of this guy will have this golden color cannon, which looks really nice. It's a metallic gold. And it'll also have a translucent kind of sparkly cannon as well. So you'll have the option for either of those. And then you'll also get a Matrix necklace on a chain that he also sports in the Transformers movie. So yeah, overall, he looks pretty fantastic. The head sculpt, every time I look at this head sculpt, to me, it reminds me of Leonard Nimoy. Obviously, he did the voice of Galvatron in the movie. And just the way the nose looks very reminiscent of Leonard Nimoy to me. May he rest in peace. He did a fantastic job playing Galvatron, obviously. And maybe that's because they often do that a lot. They'll often base cartoon characters, their look and features off of their voice actors. So that may have been the case with Galvatron, which is why maybe this is why I think this Galvatron looks like Leonard Nimoy. It is on a swivel, a rotational joint and a swivel, not a ball joint, so he doesn't get any head bobbing action on. It doesn't look like it's light piped. It looks like it's painted eyes or molded red eyes, but it looks really nice overall. And he has a white face, which kind of gives him a almost Joker like look in my mind. I don't know why I think that. Maybe I just think of white faces as clowns. In any case, the overall look is really nice. The purple is really rich in overall color and does match really well. The legs look really good. The only thing I have an issue with, as many people have mentioned, is the foot, which is just kind of oddly shaped. It has like this kind of really high arch, weird heel and toe. But other than that, I can't find too much else wrong with it. The one thing that does bother me, and it's going to be kind of hard to see here, just for me, I wish the hips were a little bit higher. I wish there was kind of like a cavity in here and the hips sat a little bit higher in the leg connections to the hips sat a little bit higher in the hip area. Right now for me, it seems like it's a little too low, and I think that's throwing off something about it. Overall, he looks fantastic for sure. Just that one thing that I noticed personally, which is a weird nitpick, I know. One other thing, as with a lot of figures, he does have that kind of weird, ratcheted hips where you're kind of in a too much of an A stance, one ratchet out, and then obviously when you're straight. So you gotta kind of, work with what you have. Use some of the thigh rotation to make it look less wide when you pose them in the A stance. So yeah, robot mode articulation, we already went through the head. The shoulders are nicely tight ratcheted going all the way around. Friction joint going outward. He has a nice bicep joint. He has double jointed elbows as well as an elbow joint, elbow rotation, so a lot of rotation there. His hands are on ball joints, which is nice. You get a lot of extra rotation there. The fingers I don't like. Is a ball jointed thumb with no other articulation, and then ball joints on each of the fingers and one point of articulation aside from the ball joints. But I don't know, they feel kind of thin and frail. They're more, I guess, lifelike because they're round, but I don't know, they tend to pop out, at least on me in this sample. Again, it's a pre-production sample, so they can be tightening that up. But overall, I just don't like these fingers all that much. They feel a little bit looser than I would have liked. They do look good though, so I'll give them that. Let's see what else is going on here. He does have a waist swivel. No ab crunch, but he has a nice friction waist joint. His cannon can come off. That's not really articulation, but I guess I'll mention that. His hips are ratchet going forward and back, and he has tons of motion going back as well as forward. He has a nice thigh swivel, which is really well hidden. I didn't even notice it at first. It's kind of mid-thigh. He has nice ratcheted knees that go 90 degrees. And then his feet have a pivot, mostly going inward. And then he can get some forward and back motion going on. A lot of forward and back, actually. He does have some heel articulation if you want to move this purple piece around. It's for actually for transformation, I think, for the most part. Oh man, it's really tight. But you can get it moving like this if you have some odd poses that will need a beefier heel. And the same thing with the toe. He has some toe tilting going on. I think this also may rotate out. Yeah, you can get that to rotate out as well. So yeah, that's really it for robot mode review. I'm going to do some quick comparisons. Let's go ahead and bring out MP10. And you can see that they stand pretty close together in overall height. Galvatron, well, if I have them straight up, the Tyrant is a bit taller, about a ½ inch or so taller. Not a bad scale. I kind of like my villains being a little bit taller. And then here he is with X-Transbot's Apollyon. Again, about a half head taller since Apollyon scales perfectly with MP10. So yeah, that's really it. Let's go ahead and get into transformation. I'm worried that I'm going to mess this up because there are some parts that I'm not exactly 100% sure on, but let's go ahead and try it anyway, okay? Alright, so let's get Tyrant transformed into alt mode. First thing we'll do is take off the cannon. One thing to note on the cannon is that it actually opens up like this, and I'm guessing there's going to be electronics that go in here. I'm actually not sure though. So yeah, you can actually pull back on the rear part of the cannon, rotate it around 180, and then that will allow you to go ahead and form the cannon piece later. Move that off to the side. Next, what we'll do is deal with the fists. We're going to go with the upper body first in terms of transformation, and then we'll work our way down. You just have to split the forearm like so, and then you have a little slot in the back and a tab in here. You just have to rotate on that ball joint, and it's a little difficult to see. Actually, it's really difficult to see, but you can kind of get a feel for where it needs to go and just rotate it straight in. But it can be challenging sometimes. There we go. Of course, I say it's challenging, and then it isn't challenging at all. In any case, from here, we'll go ahead and deal with the shoulders too. These actually are on sliding joints. You can go ahead and slide this like that. come around to the side here, or back. I'm gonna undo or straighten out the treads, undo the tab here. And then we also need to kind of break the whole body in half, and then push through with this purple piece. And that will allow you to actually get the main body all the way through. While you're here, you're going to want to push this upper two abs forward, and that will give you some room to actually rotate this joint around. We're going to deal with the head next. The head, I feel like I'm transforming incorrectly, or there's probably a better way, but you need to get some clearance here, and I can't seem to get it to actually go through cleanly. I usually end up having to force something through. Yeah, see, I'm not sure which way I need to rotate it through. It might be best this way. Oh, there we go. So rotate it through that way regularly. And I think the best way, though, once you get it through here, is to rotate it. I think that's right. The reason why you need to push it through this much is because the entire chest area is going to be filled with the arms, which is what we're going to deal with next. So these tabs on this pre-production sample are a little challenging. They're a little loose, so they tend to fall off. So I'm hoping they don't fall off this time. You're just supposed to rotate them down like this. Come on, I'm being very careful so they don't fall off. And then on the back, the tabs come out here. You spread it off to the side like that. And then you can push this and rotate this around like so. This gray piece was in here, flipped out by itself obviously. You're going to want to replace it with this purple piece. Same thing on this side. I'm going to spread this out just a little bit, rotate it around. The purple piece will flip in when the gray piece comes out. This gray piece is a little loose, which is why it came out by itself. And then once you get that all kind of around like that, you can rotate these purple pieces back into place. The arms are pretty challenging. Without instructions, it took me quite a while to figure out how to do this. You're going to rotate the bicep so that this ratcheted joint is facing up, and then rotate at the elbow joint so it's down like this. And then it's all to get this tab into that shoulder piece. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to rotate the shoulder first, and then get everything kind of the way I mentioned, with this ratchet piece up, the other ratchet piece down, or the other bend down. And so you kind of zigzag it like this. That allows you to tab the arm into the shoulder like that. And then you're going to want to rotate everything in using this double hinge on the dark gray part of the shoulder to get that flush. Same thing on this side. You're going to want to rotate this around, get the bicep around so that piece is up, this piece bends down. I like to tab in as soon as possible. Like I said, get this tab in, and then rotate everything in like so. And just give it a squeeze so everything is flush with this round piece there. You can close this up if you haven't already. We can actually attach the cannon now, but we're going to do that last just because it's the most climactic piece, and also the piece that might tend to get in the way. From here, we're going to go ahead and deal with the lower body. So first we're going to rotate the waist around 180. We're going to untab the crotch here. Just get this straightened out. So I'm not even going to go there. I don't know why I even went there. But go ahead and rotate the legs down, because you need to get the clearance needed to get these hip pieces out and around on their kind of articulating arms. From here, we're going to deal with the legs, which I found to be incredibly frustrating, and that might be just because I don't have the instructions, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just kind of a issue with the transformation and clearances, or tight tolerances or tight clearances. These thigh pieces are actually on double hinges that you're going to need to rotate down. So go ahead and bend the knees and get these rotated down, because that will give you the clearance. And then rotate the legs inward, so he's kind of bow-legged and kind of derpy at this point. From here, we're going to go ahead and let's deal with the toes first and heel first. Just rotate them out on their double hinges on each side. Alright, and then we're going to open up the legs. So the legs are tabbed into place, or held into place with this small section here that's tabbed in. Go ahead and open that up, and then you got to open this piece up as well. And then you can flip this up. Same thing on the other side. Untab this, open up the leg. Come on. And then open up this part of the leg, and then flip this up. And so the whole point is going to be to get everything in the thigh area covered up by the shin piece here, and this is going to wrap around. It might be easiest to show it this way, but I find it really difficult. The other thing you're going to want to do is rotate the heel this way, so that the toe is facing this direction. And at this point, you're going to just make use of these kind of double knees, the double hinge knees, to come in and around like so, to wrap this piece around, and that will tab in again. And then you kind of straighten out the leg, and this hip piece will come up and cover like this. This piece is going to flip around later, but we'll do that in a bit. Same thing with this side. Kind of get the leg straightened out. And then we're going to collapse it on itself with the knee ratchet. Get this around. Tab back in. Oh, this part should come out on top. Like so. And then get the legs kind of together. And they're gonna be like this, and this round peg goes into the other leg. And this is where it gets a little bit challenging. This piece has to go over the other piece and tap in like that. You can't just push it together, you have to actually go up and over. This piece here, make sure these purple pieces are kind of out of the way. This is going to rotate all the way in, and you'll see that both purple pieces have this little kind of tab that needs to go in here eventually. So you just need to rotate this around like so. This side as well. And just tight tolerances all around. And there we go. Get these two halves like this, so they kind of form one piece, and then you can move this section forward. That actually looked pretty easy, but honestly this was probably like my 5th time trying to do this in a reasonable manner. It's actually super frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. I do not like this part of the transformation at all, but hopefully I made it look easy enough, and maybe the transformations I'm doing, the way I'm doing it, is not correct, or there's an easier way with the official instructions. So don't make judgment yet just based on my frustration. It's very hard to review pre-production samples. And then go ahead and straighten out the legs, fold these purple pieces back in like so. And then we're basically done. The last thing you need to do is go ahead and bring this cannon. You'll see there's 2 tabs up here. It has corresponding slots at the top of those chrome pieces. I'm going to slide that up. And I think... Oh, I did something wrong. There we go. Okay, I thought I did something wrong and I was gonna freak out that I would have to redo this transformation section again. But there, yeah, there you go. We finally have Tyrant in alt mode. And it's a pretty beefy alt mode. You can see how big it is. What can I show in comparison? So the only thing I kind of have around that's that size is my MP10 trailer. And you can see it's longer than the MP10 trailer from this little kind of tail piece to the end of the cannon. It does feature treads, rubber treads that do work alongside this wheel in the back. It doesn't really work for me all that well. You gotta get a lot of friction and pressure down. So I don't think it works that well, but it's nice to have it. I wish these pieces were ratcheted or something because they're just friction joints and they tend to not stay in place. So that's another complaint that I have. These side pieces, from what I can tell, just are held in place as well by friction. It would have been nice to have something in place that would give it some support. So that's a bit of a disappointment. It does look really great. There is no gun mode, from what I can tell. There's no transformation to a third gun mode like the toy. But I'm fine with that. I'm okay with it just being a space cannon like the movie and not a handgun. Or space gun, I guess. Alright, I think that's, well, I guess we can do a quick 360 of this guy. I hope they have, if it is LED in here, I hope they have some kind of diffuser in here to make it work really well. And I think this is a great representation of Galvatron in alt mode. Alright, so let's go ahead and get from alt to robot and finish off the review with final thoughts. First thing we'll do is, actually let's deal with the cannon first. That makes the most sense. Go ahead and just unpeg that. While we're here, we'll just rotate that around, collapse it like so, put that off to the side, and then we'll go ahead and deal with the cannon itself, the main body itself. I like to unpeg this first, and then pull down on this piece to unrelease these two tabs. You're going to pull out the heels. And again, I feel like I might be missing something here because it just seems like these tolerances or clearances are really tight. And I don't like that feeling of pulling plastic. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and move these hip pieces out of the way. For now, and then we're gonna do that up and over on this tab here. So you need to release this section first, release that section. From here, we need to release these tabs again. So release that, release that tab. That will allow you to start opening up the legs. So unpeg this part of the leg there, open up the legs by a couple ratchets so that they're spread apart. And then my tab. Oh yeah, I'm tabbed in on the wrong side, on this side. So open up the legs like this. It's much easier transforming him back into robot mode than it is to transform him into cannon mode. Before you straighten out the knees so you don't damage this thigh piece, go ahead and rotate the leg and then use that double hinge to rotate that thigh cover up. So once again, don't just straighten out the knee, you will damage your figure right here. Rotate the knee, we'll rotate the thigh, swivel that up, and then you can straighten out the leg. Am I facing the wrong way? Oh yeah, this leg's facing the wrong way. Alright, let's go ahead and finish off the lower leg first. I'm going to pull this gray piece down, collapse this in, fold that in like that, fold this in, and then close this tiny piece that will cover that tab. You can rotate the heel or the ankle, get that toe back on itself like this. Same thing with the heel. And as I said, honestly, this transformation is way easier this way. You could probably hear my frustration on the other way. It's definitely well engineered, but it definitely sacrifices enjoyability of the transformation to actually get that accomplished. I don't know why this isn't collapsing. There we go. I should rotate up like that. Okay, get this piece rotated down, fold this in, close that up, close that tab. You can rotate the ankles into the lower leg. So we have the lower legs basically done. Rotate the legs all the way back so that you can get that clearance to swing these tiny purple arms with the hip pieces in. Straighten out the legs. We're going to go ahead, close the crotch up, fold that up, that tabs in on the bottom. Rotate the waist 180 degrees. Now we have to deal with the arms first. So we're just going to basically pull out on the arms. We can go ahead and release the shoulder piece if you want. Get it rotated all the way up. Pull out the arms. Same thing here, just get the arms out, like so. Get these shoulder pieces rotated all the way up top. We'll go ahead and deal with finishing off the arms later. Here we're going to rotate, actually we're going to get this purple piece out of this part here. If you can get it out, it's very challenging. I'm going to use my spudger to rotate that piece out. Fold in the purple piece. Same thing on this side. Then we're going to rotate this completely around. You're going to want to try to clear these arms. Get it rotated through, and you'll see that purple piece sits into that cavity there, and then you tab in on the back top here. Alright, same thing on the other side. Remember to have this purple piece rotated down. Rotate this all the way through. Tab it in on the back. Then rotate this purple piece up. With the Galvatron head, or Tyrant head, I believe I rotated it first. So let's go ahead and rotate this around first. And then making use of that double hinge, position the head so that you can rotate it out. Like this. Making use of this hinge here to fold in, and that will give you the clearance to get Galvatron, or Tyrant. I keep saying Galvatron. Obviously it's Galvatron, but Tyrant head out and fold that down. Then we can deal with the chest piece. You're probably going to have to untab it here to get it through the main body and out the back. Just push that all the way through. You're going to need that tab to sit flat, so just go ahead and push that purple piece down to get that that piece to sit flat, so you can tab that into the lower body. Straighten this out, tab that in, rotate the treads inward. Or actually, you can keep it however you like, but I think you're supposed to rotate it inward. Alright, very close to the end now. If you haven't rotated this purple piece up, go ahead and do that. The shoulders you're going to want to rotate downward. Get the bicep and elbows in the right positions. However you like it. Go ahead and open up the forearms to rotate out the fists. Same thing on the other side, and we're so close to the finish line. And I know my videos are long, but believe me, this one felt super long for me as well. Alright, so the last things we need to do is get these shoulder pieces slid back so that they form the kind of iconic shoulder pieces for Galvatron. And there we go, we have Tyrant back in robot mode, save for his cannon. We just have to plug that into his arm. And there we go, finally. Very nice looking figure in both modes. Not a lot to complain about in either mode, but the transformation, again, for me was super frustrating. So my final thoughts are a great figure, great looking piece. There are some nitpicks that I have in terms of just the hips here and the feet, which everyone kind of complains about as well. But overall, super clean, very cool, well engineered transformation, but in design, but in practice, it's really frustrating. So keep that in mind. If you had a really frustrating time with, say, Bad Q's War Dog, then you're probably going to have an even more frustrating time with this guy, because the tolerances are pretty tight. And it's just kind of frustrating overall. But I do think he's a great looking figure. As a Galvatron, the quality of the guy is really nice. He has really nice plastic, as we've come to expect from DX9. And the overall sculpt is really fantastic. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of competition in the Galvatron space. We do have the X-Transbots one coming out, but I think that's about it. We'll see if the official Takaro Galvatron will eventually get made now that we have a new hot rod as well. But he's a really stand out piece, I think. If you can get over the frustrations with the transformation, or if you're one of those people that will transform him into robot mode or alt mode and keep him there, I think this guy will really hit a lot of high marks in that respect. And the small weird idiosyncrasies that I have about some of the robot mode stuff may not apply to you. Alright, so thanks again for watching the review. Thanks a lot, DX9, for allowing me to do the review. Thanks to Toy Dojo for being the sponsor. So if you want to pre-order this guy, you can go ahead and click on the Toy Dojo link in the description below. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. But go ahead and let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know why I'm not deserving of a thumbs up. In any case, if you want to keep up to date with my news and reviews, go ahead and click the subscribe button floating around here. Or go ahead and like me on Facebook at Pig for Life Reviews. And as always, I really appreciate you watching the review. Being able to do a really early pre-production review is always a privilege, and hopefully this will help you guys make a decision about whether you want this figure or not. Alright, that's all for today, folks. Have a good one.